Most people don't actually struggle to get lean. Yeah, they struggle to stay lean. They diet down for maybe 8 to 12 weeks, look good for a short period of time, and then they slowly drift back to where they started, and it's bulk, cut, fall off, start again Monday, year after year, the same cycle. But the truth is, guys, staying lean isn't hard, all right? It's about having structure. And once you understand how to build your physique properly, you don't need to keep restarting. Yeah, you just maintain it as the standard. And over the past year, yeah, I've gone from having no structure to my life to building a physique that I can actually maintain year round. And today I'm going to run through the principles I use with myself and with my clients to stay lean long term. All right, this isn't theory, guys. This is actually what works. Let's get into the video, guys. Principle 1 is you need to get lean first. Yeah, you can't stay what you haven't built. So you want a nice clean canvas, guys. Yeah, because trust me, once you get lean for the first time, it's very easy to maintain from there. And you don't want to go back. You know, far too many people think they're leaner than they actually are. All right, a good starting point, you know, going into a performance phase, pushing that food is you want to get to around 10% body fat. Yeah, you want, before even like pushing food, yeah, you want to cut to about 10% body fat, if not below. I like to get around that 8 to 10% body fat range. You know, you don't need to be dick skin shredded. You don't need to be 5-6% body fat, but you want to be a nice healthy body fat range year round. I'm talking 10 to 12% body fat. Yeah, you don't need, you know, you don't want that muscle definition, guys, to be hidden. Yeah, your insulin sensitivity is going to be better. Your nutrient partitioning is going to be better. You're going to be building slowly whilst maintaining that definition, that shape. You're actually going to be looking good, feeling good. Yeah, you're not going to be bloated. Like far too many people just want to automatically go into a bulk before actually leaning down first. And the leaner you get, guys, the more food you can drive in that performance phase. Yeah, and the more food you can drive, the more muscle you're going to put on. All right, use that food as fuel. And that leads me on to my next principle, guys. Principle 2 is arguably the most important principle. Yeah, this is what's actually going to ensure that you're staying sharp, you're staying lean, you're staying athletic year round. And that is, make sure your nutrition's absolutely dialed in. Yeah, you want to have calorie awareness. You want to know your maintenance calories if you're eating out, if you're eating off plan. Yeah, like if your nutrition is inconsistent, your progress, it's going to be all over the place. Yeah, your data is going to be all over the place. You're not going to know what's going on. All right, so keep your nutrition consistent. Yeah, you want to be eating from whole foods at all times. I know a lot of people say 80-20. Me personally, I'm 100-0, man. So just make sure you're just eating from whole foods. You're going to feel a lot better. You're going to look a lot better. Yeah, I'm talking the chicken breast. I'm talking the steak. I'm talking the veg, you know, fruit, ideally organic. And keep the healthy fats in there, guys, as well. The salmon, the avocado, the olive oil, the nuts, all right? Just keep all macronutrients in there, all right? A balanced approach is always going to be the most optimal if you're looking to build muscle. Yeah, so many people slash certain macronutrients, and I really don't get why, guys. Yeah, they're spastics, and I've done it time and time again in the past. You know, just went straight up protein. Obviously keep your protein high, but guys, you also want to make sure your macros are actually dialed in properly. Yeah, depending on what phase you're in your physique journey. Like, do not cut carbs. I repeat, do not cut carbs. They're going to fuel your performance. And if you don't want to look like a soft, little depleted bitch, don't cut carbs, guys. And keep your fats in there for hormones, for recovery. All right, so you actually want structure to your nutrition. You want your meal timing and your nutrient timing to be consistent. Yeah, high carb meals post-workout, restoring that glycogen. And a couple of tips, guys, for this, for nutrition, making sure your nutrition's dialed in, is take a walk after your meal. Yeah, it might seem silly, but just take a walk even for just 1 to 2 minutes. It's going to make sure you're actually digesting that food properly. And chew your food as well properly. If you've suffered bloating or gassiness in the past, it's probably because you're not chewing your food properly. And figure out as well, guys, what foods actually work for you, because everyone's different. All right, for me personally, oats, I just wasn't digesting that well. Yeah, I had a lot of digestive issues with oats, and I'm very big on gut health, and that's a big one for me, guys. Obviously, I like to have my ginger and turmeric, shot in the morning, just to make sure from a physique standpoint, I'm just looking as sharp as I possibly can. But like I say, make sure you know your maintenance calories if you're eating out, to make sure that you're actually staying on track. But honestly, guys, just eat the same meals every day. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but just eat repeatable meals. Find the meals that you like and eat them on repeat. Yeah, like it's not that hard, guys. And start meal prepping. I know I say that a lot as well, but start meal prepping. You want to be making sure you're hydrated. So for me, guys, a big one is electrolytes. Yeah, I like to take my electrolytes in the morning, but you want to be drinking at least 4 liters a day, guys. You're going to look a lot better. You're going to flush out all that water retention, and especially from a physique standpoint, that's where you're going to look your sharpest, your leanest year round. So yeah, make sure you're staying hydrated. If you ever woke up flat some days, or retaining a lot more water, just make sure your hydration is very, very consistent. Depending on what phase you're in as well, just make sure your calories and your macros are on point. All right, like if you're obviously cutting, you want to be in a small deficit, nothing too crazy. You want to maintain that fullness, you want to maintain that muscle as much as possible. But also, if you're in a performance phase, if you want to stay lean whilst building lean tissue, you want to either be at maintenance or just in a slight surplus. Yeah, you don't need to be eating a crazy amount of food. You don't need to be in a huge surplus, because you're just going to end up looking fat. Yeah, you're just going to end up putting on fat, guys. And that's what we don't want. We want to stay lean. We want to stay sharp. So yeah, guys, make sure your nutrition is absolutely dialed in. Principle 3, guys, is train like an absolute machine. Yeah, you want to have progressive overload in there. You want to be, having proper execution, proper structure to your training. Yeah, you want to train like a psycho no matter what phase you're in with your physique, especially in a performance phase. Yeah, you want to be using that extra food to actually drive your performance. Otherwise, it's just going to get stored as fat, guys. It's that simple, all right? You want a gym schedule. You want to show up to the gym like it's a meeting. In the morning, ideally, guys. Just get it boxed off nice and early. And showing up, guys, simply isn't enough. A lot of people say they're training hard. You want to have a structured program allocated specifically for you. Yeah, and this is something that I do with all my clients to ensure that they have training aligned with their goals. Yeah, intentional training, right tempo, right sets, right reps, intensity. Yeah, and train to build, guys, not to burn. You want zone 2 cardio in there. Yeah, nothing too crazy, nothing too mentally taxing. And like I say, you want to be progressively overloading. You want to be lifting as heavy as possible. But yeah, you want to be training hard, guys, but you also want to be training smart, all right? Don't go in there with the highest ego and lift like a fucking idiot, all right? You want proper execution, drop the ego, like you look like a twat, around no one gives a fuck, all right? It's that simple. Train hard, but train smart, all right? You want to be in there 45 minutes, in and out, not winging it, knowing what you're doing. And also, guys, just keep cardio in there where's needed, move the body, regularly get your steps in. Don't be a lazy fucker. It's that simple, guys. But yeah, keep training high. And principle 4, guys, is prioritize your recovery. Yeah, this is arguably more important than training itself. Well, it is more important than training itself, because it's actually where you're repairing. It's actually where you're growing. And this is something that I neglected over the years. Yeah, I just didn't prioritize my recovery. I thought that doing more and going to the gym more and doing all this hybrid shit was better for my body. The harder you train, the more you're going to grow. And that's not the case, guys. You want to make sure you're prioritizing your recovery. But as well, guys, this is something that I've done recently, and it's a PM routine. Yeah, stay off your phone for the last 1 hour, 2 hours before bed. Read or journal or meditate. Me personally, I like to read a bit of mindset, maybe 30 minutes before bed. But it's been a game changer for me. Yeah, that brings me on to my next thing, obviously, guys, is sleep. That's the biggest part of recovery. That's where you're actually growing. That's where you're actually resting. Yeah, you're controlling your stress. I know for me, guys, over the years, I suffered with high cortisol, and I'd wake up with a puffy face and feeling tired already. Like, make sure you're prioritizing your sleep no matter what. And if you are someone who has to be on their laptop, if they have to be on their phone, maybe due to work, whatever, just I know they say they have them blue light glasses. Me personally, I don't have them, but I heard they're very, very good. So if you do actually have to go on your screen for work reasons, then obviously I recommend that. But yeah, prioritize your rest days. Make sure you're still getting your steps in. Not many people actually move on their rest days, but it's not an excuse to just lie around and do nothing. So for me, guys, I like to still get my 30 minutes of list cardio. And there's a couple things, guys, as well. Was it sauna? I heard it's very good, and cold exposure. Me personally, I don't really do the cold exposure. I did when I was a hybrid guy, but yeah, I still like to get a sauna in, and always have that time to just decompress for yourself. Always prioritize them rest days and your sleep, because it's very, very important. Principle 5, guys, is remove all the self-sabotaging vices and the shit that you know that's holding you back. Like for me, guys, alcohol. All right, alcohol, it had to go. If you want to be operating mentally like an absolute machine on a daily basis, you want to be cognitively sharp, you want your physique to be moving forwards. For me, guys, alcohol had to go. All right, like it was a big one for me. I never really got on with it. It always just fucked me up. It slowed me down for days. But for you guys, it could be anything. It could be the one night stand with the minging birds, the low standards, or the porn, or ultra processed food. Yeah, if you got ultra processed food in your house, if you got all the processed shit in your cupboard, it's got to go. Get rid of it. Like, if you know it's not serving you, the biscuits, the chocolates, the crisps, it's got to go, guys. The takeaway apps. Yeah, get rid of it. Get rid of all the vices. It could be the radio, guys. It could be the news. Yeah, what you listen to, what you actually take in can be putting you in a low frequency state, like generally. So for me, guys, I came to realize that rap music, you know, stuff about guns and shagging girls, it changes your behavior. I'm dead serious. I know people are going to call me a bit mental for this, but it just puts you in a low frequency state. So cut all the vices. Caffeine could be one for you. Social media apps that ain't serving you. You know, if you're not learning from them, guys, they gotta go. It's that simple. And that leads me on to my next principle, guys, is protect your environment. Yeah, be careful who you're hanging around with, all right? Because at the end of the day, your environment influences your actions, your behavior. So if you're hanging around a bunch of fat people who don't give a shit about their health, they don't give a shit about the gym, you're probably gonna end up like them. You're probably gonna end up adopting their behavior. So be very, very careful, guys, just because at the end of the day, your environment is either killing you or growing you. So make sure, you know, you're taking yourself out for them reflective walks, yeah, in the morning. Or what I like to do, guys, is have an AM process where I'm waking up, I'm having that hour to myself in the morning before everyone else wakes up. Yeah, protect your environment. It's very, very important. Clean up your digital environment, clean up your physical environment, you know, make your bed every morning. I know it's such a simple habit, but not many people skip it. And yeah, guys, prioritize your environment. Principle 7 is develop a strong mindset. Yeah, most people fail their fitness journey or can't stay there because they haven't done the inner work. Yeah, and it's even more important than the actual physical work, right? Good daily habits. You know, I'll come back to macros, I'll come back to training, I'll come back to holding yourself to the highest standard and actually just listening inwards. Yeah, going on them, you know, reflective walks, like I say. Yeah, becoming self-aware of how you're speaking about yourself on a daily basis. Visualization, seeing clearly, feeling, acting like the person you want to be. You know, long term, how that physique's looking. And just installing an AM process, yeah, journaling about who you're becoming before stepping into your day and just having that mindfulness. And acting like the person you actually want to become today. And this is something that I do in my AM daily standards process that I assign to all my clients. And if you actually want that process, you know, how you're feeling, how you're operating before walking into your day, you can DM me the words AM and I will send it over to you. But like I say, guys, I do that process every morning. It is literally religious to me. But yeah, and also, guys, 30 minutes of mindset reading or a wisdom, daily. I've now implemented that into my PM routine. And yeah, guys, just fix your self-talk, all right? That's a huge one as well. Fix your self-talk. I used to talk myself down so badly on a daily basis, call myself rank and tell myself I couldn't do it and all of this, guys. But start fixing your self-talk. Start visualizing. Start actually just thinking about the person you want to become, and just develop a strong mindset and have boundaries to say no more often. Yeah, that's something I didn't do. Oh, I'll let you know, maybe later. No, just say no. If you know something's going to hold you back, say no a lot more, guys. And that's been a game changer for me. But develop a strong mindset. Principle 8, guys, is invest in yourself. Yeah, learning, developing new skills, potentially coaching. Yeah, your health is the number one thing. All right, it's a must to invest in. It's literally the key to a long, great life. All right, go to a nicer gym with better, more ambitious people. Yeah, networking, great for building, social skills, guys. Nutritious food. All right, like people complain about the price of nutritious food. It's not expensive, guys. I tell you what's expensive: fucking up your health with the kebabs, with the pizza, with the pints. Yeah, prioritize your health, guys. All right, nutritious food. An hour a day to learning a new subject, maybe buying a course, developing skills, right? Like, obsess over it, guys. Yeah, obsess over it. For me, guys, I was massive into my nutrition. I actually done a sports nutrition course for a bit. It was a bit of a waste of time, but just become obsessed with a topic, yeah, and actually just be learning and developing skills, books, knowledge. And like I say, guys, maybe coaching. All right, like maybe coaching's for you. Yeah, maybe you want that accountability. Maybe you want to 10x your results. You want to speed up the process. If that's the case, guys, you can check the link down below. But just invest in yourself, guys. All right, it's such a big thing when it comes to, developing your physique and staying lean year round. Principle 9, guys, is build a lifestyle that you actually enjoy. Yeah, it's about sustainability. It's about balance. And when I say balance, guys, I don't mean going out getting pissed every weekend. But I mean, going out, having them off-plan meals, having them nice meals out with your missus, with your family, whatever. It doesn't need to be extreme. It doesn't need to be, the gym doesn't need to be your whole life. Your whole life doesn't need to evolve around the gym. It's just about having daily non-negotiables in place. Actually just holding yourself to high standards. So having a morning routine, testing what works, what doesn't. I'm actually going to make a morning routine video, updated morning routine video, which is going to be coming soon. But yeah, it's about having daily non-negotiables, guys. It's about, 10K steps, moving the body. Yeah, no, you don't need to be doing this crazy amount of cardio and running yourself into the ground. It's mentally taxing cardio, and just keep the foods in there that you actually enjoy. Yeah, like if you're cutting foods and eating a really bland diet, which I don't like to use the word diet, I like to call it a lifestyle, but just make sure you're keeping the foods that you actually enjoy in there, and you're enjoying the training as well. Like I say, if you're not enjoying the training, it's not gonna last, all right? Like, you're gonna fall off track. And just planning them off-plan meals. Like I said, when you're having them off-plan meals, make the sensible choices. Skip the dessert and just enjoy yourself, but just hold yourself to a high standard, all right? It's about being smart and just building it as a lifestyle, and not extreme temporary phase. Yeah, letting it become a lifestyle. Final principle, guys, is thinking years, yeah, not weeks. Like, muscle does take time, all right? So don't focus too much on the scale. That is one thing I tell all my clients, not to focus so heavy on the scale. It's about the body composition, and over time, just monitor how everything's changing, how the body is changing, and stop with this, this short-term thinking, these aggressive diets, these unsustainable training programs. Yeah, and just, stop being impatient with it, all right? Be patient. Yeah, not constantly changing the plan. Yeah, which is just going to lead to burnout and being unmotivated and slipping back to old ways, all right? Like, just actually have long-term thinking. Yeah, what you're actually focusing on right now to move you forward with your physique. Steady progress, repeatable structure, consistent habits. All right, new habits take time to install. I think it's something like 66 days, yeah, to really sink in a habit or something like that, guys. I can't remember, but stick with it because repetition is key. Yeah, and eventually it will become automatic, all right? Those that are impatient, they're never going to get the results. Yeah, if you're just going to do it for a couple of weeks or for a holiday, like, you're just a fucking idiot. But just think long term, guys. Think about the long term goal. Think about what you can do today to move you forward, the decisions you can make on a daily basis. And yeah, guys, you will get there in the end. You will achieve the physique you want to achieve in the end. Those are the 10 principles, guys. And if you notice, none of them require extremes. Yeah, no crash diet, no 7 days in the gym obsession, no unsustainable restrictions, just structure applied consistently over time. And that's how you build a physique that actually lasts. And if you're looking to build a physique that you can actually maintain year round, you can fire me a message over on my Insta, Charlie Crawley Fit, and I'll be happy to get back to you. But yeah, subscribe, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.